Orale, ¿cómo estás? Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Nigerian Nightmare Kamaru Usman.
Henry Cejudo, a.k.a. Triple C.
A Shadow Line production.
My man Henry. UFC 310. 3-10.
Wow, okay.
Went down last night. And I mean, Henry, you go ahead and you tell me
So you want me?
your excitement. I know
you want me
were-
to be the bad guy? Is that what you want me to do?
No, what you mean?
I'd probably give
mean?
this card a maybe C minus. I thought there was a lot of misjudging. I thought there was a lot of overhyped fights that didn't really deliver. But I also felt like there's some rising stars in the making. But I think overall, and we can go through all that. But I think overall, I think this wasn't like the best pay-per-view card to pretty much end on. Even though there was finishes, even though there was, fights that went the distance, it just wasn't, to me, for this card. It just wasn't it, dude. It wasn't what we had prior. And did it deliver? No, man. I thought it was more controversial more than anything, Kamaru. We could talk about our boy Bobby Brown. I'm sorry, Randy Brown. Aljamain Sterling. I felt like Aljamain Sterling had won, Bobby Brown had won, and man, I would probably even say Volkov. Call me crazy. 3 fights were just like, man, it's just a little iffy. I mean, but when you leave it to the hands of the judges, that's the stuff that typically tends to happen. But I felt like I pretty much got those right, man. I thought Bobby Brown really got robbed, and I thought Aljamain did enough with 3.5 minutes of control time against Evloev. Even though, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, come on. That's my assessment of the card. What you got?
Yeah, I think you're right on the right track. There was a lot of controversial judging that took place to where fights could have gone either way. But yeah, that, like you mentioned, that's what tends to happen when you leave it in the hands of the judges. So when the judges make you cry, as Burt Watson used to always say, you leave it in the hands of the judges, they'll make you cry every time. And that's where we're getting now. The next day, you're getting guys still pissed off. That was a BS decision, BS judging, blase, blase. This is what happened when it's left in the hands of the judges. But I tell you who delivered in the hands of the judges, Alexandre Pantoja. I'm talking about, you know what, Henry? Dana should just go ahead and slide him a little 25, or maybe a little extra 50. Slide him a little something extra, because he straight up went out there, flexed on him, and represented the UFC in the way that it needed to be represented, by putting everyone on notice that, hey, I am the champion here. I'm the champion here. You come here, I choke you. And he got him out of there.
Yeah.
So big shout out to Alexandre Pantoja, beating a guy like Kai Asakura. I mean, this guy, I mean, you saw all the highlights, you saw all the hype. I hadn't heard too much of this guy ever before, but I knew about him going into this fight, the way that the UFC built that reel, put the hype on him. I was like, yo, this dude might be able to come in here and slide out. But Alexandre Pantoja said, nah, you're going to have to chill on that, player. And he got the job done.
Yeah, no, for sure, bro. You gotta be 4 title defenses, man. He's reaching a nice little pinnacle. I just don't feel like Kai Asakura. Nobody really knew him. He was very dangerous with power, but he's also lost to a lot of guys that has fought in the UFC, like Manal Cop. He's lost to.
Did he lose to Manel
Yeah,
Cop?
he did. He lost to him. He lost to Haraguchi, guys that were former fighters. And this is his first time going down to 125 pounds. We didn't get that highlight reel that the UFC was pretty much delivering. And I think overall, Pantoja's just too witty. Pantoja's just a better fighter, man. He's coming into his own really, really well, man. Like, look at his physique, man. Whoever's doing his strength and conditioning, Pantoja is going to be a really fucking hard dude to beat at 125 pounds. I mean, he called out Demetrius Johnson for crying out loud. And I personally don't think Demetrius Johnson wants to fight ever again. I think he found his love in, in content creation. But man, that would be a tough fight for a guy like DJ, a guy that takes the back. I think overall, like being well rounded, I feel like Demetrius Johnson has more tools. But there's times it's like the same reason why I got the victory over Demetrius Johnson is I had that one base that I was able to take it there. And I think for Pantoja, he's able to take the back on anybody. I've trained with Pantoja. Now you're in trouble. But also Demetrius Johnson has 11 tile defenses, man. And I get it, man. I get it. I think what's next for a guy like Pantoja? I mean, Demetrius Johnson, that's how he said he got offered $2 million. I believe that. Kai Kara France, I know they've had one out. I think that's probably the most logical fight right now. And who knows, man? Maybe the Triple C might slide in Kamaru Usman. We'll see. But as of right now, I feel like Pantoja is going to be a hard dude to he's going to be a hard dude to beat. And I think the best guy that had that shot was Moreno, but Moreno's fought that dude 4 times, and he is 0-4.
Okay, Henry, we gotta talk. Let's talk about it. Let's go there. Let's talk about it. Demetrius Johnson. We need to talk. I know it's hard because he was a guy that left the company, went to a different organization. And when you leave the company at a height of when you still got steam, the company kind of, I hate to say it, but they erase everything. They erase your memory from people's minds, and they just kind of throw you away. But let's bring it back. Demetrius Johnson is John Jones GOAT status. He's not John Jones. Don't get me wrong. I know everybody gonna try to jump on and crucify me. He's not John Jones, but Demetrius Johnson, with what he did with his opposition in his respective weight class, is GOAT status. This is a guy that could, if he decided he wanted to come back, he can do it. But if he doesn't have to do it. I mean, this guy is incredible. And I do believe, to be honest with you, I do believe he comes back and he has a potential of being a champion again right now if he came back. He's still training. He's a well-rounded martial artist. He's still growing each and every day, just like a George St. Pierre, just like a John Jones, just like a Kamaru Usman, just like a Henry Cejudo. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying,
yeah,
we got to give the flowers where it's due. It was a good call out, to be honest. It was a good call out for Alexander Pantoja when there's really no clear guy that they can slide in there for you next. This was a great call out. And of course, it depends on if the UFC is somewhat interested in doing something else with that, then the UFC will have to back the truck up a little bit and throw Mighty Mouse a little check.
Hey, well, Demetrius is set, Kamaru. I think the best fight for him right now it is Kai Kara France. I thought Amir Albazi, if Amir Albazi was be able to get through Brandon Moreno, no, you got to go with the next guy, and that's Kai Kara France. They've had a close fight, bro. They fought a couple of times. They fought on the Tough 24, and I want to say that they fought. I believe they fought twice. Then they fought again on Tough 24, which I coached, and then and I was there for that fight. I didn't corner any of them, but either way, dude, Alexander Pantoja, congratulations. He's going to be a hard dude to beat. Or the next guy in line is Steve Ercik, but he just got knocked out by Kai Kara France. I mean, Steve Ercik, without making those if he didn't make those tactical mistakes, he could have had that belt around his waist. He's had a close one too, Manel Kopp. I mean, but he's only getting better, Kamaru.
Yeah, I would like to see a guy like Manel Kopp fight for the title, but it seems like when he gets an opportunity to elevate himself, he kind of falls short. So I know he's fighting next week in Tampa. I would love to see what he does do, and if he's able to get back to that exciting Manel Kopp that has power and speed, and potentially he could jump that line because he's a new face, and he's a guy that has a win over the guy that just challenged for the title. So. Hey, we'll keep our eye open there. We move on, Henry, to the co-main event. So I'm gonna let you go ahead, Henry. You go ahead. How do you feel about this one?
Oh man, I thought this was a disappointing fight, man. I think the aura that Rakhmonov had kind of diminishes a little bit. Like he didn't have those 18. He was 18-0, 18 finishes. I just feel like there were some things that Garry did say that were correct. It was a boring fight, It really was, but I think it was a boring fight, but it was also close. I mean through rounds it was close, but I felt like pretty much Shavkat was in control of the fight, but he was also put in positions where he was more in danger, and particularly that fifth round when Ian Garry was able to get that choke. I felt like Rakhmonov respect Ian a little too much, quite honestly. Like he was going for too many takedowns. I forget that. I mean, I think he was 2 for 10 on takedowns or some crazy number like that. Like with Rakhmonov, was it takedowns? Let me see. Yeah,
Yeah,
2
2
for
for
10,
10.
2 for 10 for damn takedowns. I mean, think about it, Kamaru Usman. Like, if you're not able to take down a guy like Ian Garry down, that means Ian Garry, one, is getting better, but then two, Shavkat is also. I mean, will he be able to take down a guy like, potentially Belal Muhammad? I mean, obviously you saw Belal coming in. The security guards didn't know who he was, dude. That's crazy, bro, and that's crazy, man. It should like the UFC. The UFC they need it.
Play the video.
They need to do a better job, dude. Fucking come on, man. Somebody lead, bro. Like, let him
I
walk
want to
up.
hear
Don't
that
be like
video.
trying to get his fucking ID number. Don't be checking his ID, dude. The dude is,
Henry,
anyways.
Henry, Henry, Henry. Let's. I want to hear the video. What is? I want to hear Ryan play the video.
The security doesn't know he's the champ. Look at the state of this. The security doesn't know he's the champ. No, I'm not surprised, motherfucker. Oh, mate. He is an asshole, I think.
Is that actually Connor, dude? Is that a fucking AI?
Yo, the impression. Go back. Skip back a little bit.
I'm excited for.
Wow, Kamaru, you're enjoying that a little too much, Kush. I haven't seen you smile like that since 1999.
Hey, listen. I know. Yes, me and Connor have had our situations. Me and Bilal have had our situations, and I know Connor's going through a lot right now. But we still can't forget, like, this guy has some of the best, wittiest comeback and one-liners in UFC history. And Jesus, this was, talk about, you're right, Henry, total just chaos.
Cringe at the end,
Like
right?
yo, like
cringe.
when what are we doing what are we doing when even the security working the UFC event don't know you are champion? Oh my God.
Kamaru, you enjoying that a little too much,
My
bro.
bad.
Too
Hey,
much.
it was just the time, because I remember when I saw it too. I was like, yo, Joe Rogan had to vouch for you to get you to come through security. Did you hear what Joe Rogan said? Oh, he's the champ. Let him in. And I know Joe didn't even mean it in a negative way. It just, Joe, I mean, obviously Joe's a comedian. It's just natural timing and delivery. Just hit the mark. And that's what I found really, really funny. But Henry, I mean, I'm not surprised by this fight at all. I'm not. I told you what was going to happen. It is what it is. Like I said, I've had my situation with Belal, had my situation with Connor, but like, this was just, I was thinking the same thing at that time. I was thinking like, and I didn't even hear this reaction. I was thinking the same, like, Joe Rogan had to vouch for you to get through security. Like, what are we doing at an event that you can't even, they don't even know you're the champion. So I thought that was just hilarious. That wasn't me trying to like cast shade or anything like that. Like, we all thought it was funny. I'm sure the world thought it was funny. But yeah, about this fight, Henry, I wasn't surprised. I told you what was going to happen. That's the type.
It also showed, dude, that he's right, man. Like I said before, man. Rakhmonov, he didn't. That aura kind of diminishes a little bit, dude. I think sometimes that aura, when people have that, and particularly a championship fight, like the champion going in, there's going to be a lot more confident going in there, because he knows that, hey, this dude did not finish a guy when he had the opportunity to, and he had all this, finishing rates. But whatever that is, Ian Garry Rakhmonov is next entitled for a fight with Belal Muhammad, and I do believe that the UFC is going to do that sooner rather than later. But you know what? That leaves Ian Garry. Call me crazy, Kush. I could see a fight between Ian Garry Machado against the one and only, the Nigerian nightmare Kamaru Usman. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, does he even deserve that? And this is what I'm gonna say is leading up to this fight, there was a lot being said. He made a lot of things. Oh, these everyone's running from me. These guys are running from me. Like, and I don't run from anybody. No one. I run from no one. And I'm sure, I don't know too many guys that are going to run from anyone, because this is the game. We fight to make money. If we don't fight, we don't get paid. And so it doesn't, anyone in the UFC has to step in there in order to get paid. So to the notion of, oh yeah, they were scared of me, they were running up. Like, who are you? Who are you that I of all people am scared of you? Who are you? And you wanted me. He was I guess he was upset because he wanted me to be his late notice replacement for his fight. Who the fuck is that guy for me to be a late replacement for? What? No. And like I said, the biggest thing for me is I just need to get healthy. It doesn't matter who it is. Once I'm healthy and I feel that I'm healthy to get back in there and do what I do, I don't care. You could bring King Kong and King Kong's brothers. If they can make 170, we get it on. So it is what it is. But back to the fight, that's what I expected. Ian needs to create space. Ian's a very good and dynamic striker. And you could tell, you saw that in the fight. If he's able to create space, then he's able to kind of get his flow going. And Shavkat wants to get to the action. He just wants to, I got to get my hands on you. And you're right, Henry. I do think, and this is some of the things that I was seeing, but, obviously with the potential of me potentially fighting him, I didn't want to give too much away. But these are some of the things that I'm seeing. There is holes in both of their games, as you could see. I am a wrestler. Once Ian got taken down a few times, the fight kind of got away from him. And Shavkat, as far as standing and putting the combinations together, he couldn't really do that well with Ian Garry. And so there's holes in both of their games, but I expected a fight like this, and I knew it wasn't going to be the most barn burner exciting fight that a lot of people were salivating over. But nonetheless, it shows how Shavkat is a dog. He's willing to just do whatever it takes to get in there and get that win. And so is Ian. It's just that Shavkat was a little bit more of a dog than Ian Garry, and he was out there to get that. So
how did you score? How did you score, Kamaru? How did you score round by round? Did you have it? Did you have a 3-2?
3-2. Yeah, I think I had a 3-2.
Okay, 3-2, 3 and 5 for. What did you think when Shavkat had him in the freaking rear naked choke, dude? Where you're like, damn, this shit's about to get
Ian Garry.
Yeah, Ian Garry when he had a Shavkat in that rear naked choke.
I saw a little bit of panic in Shavkat's face because it's when we've never been in certain situations, certain positions, then it feels foreign. And that's all I felt. I felt the foreign. I saw that in his face, like, oh, how am I here? How did I get here? And so I was a little worried. I was like, oh my God, he's potentially about to get finished here. But he was able to hang on and get the decision, which is more power to him. Now I'm looking forward to seeing what he does with Belal, what Belal is able to do with him.
Yeah.
That's an intriguing one.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But yeah, nonetheless, the end of it was hilarious. Anyways, moving on to the next fight. What was the next fight?
Ciryl
Gane. As you said, Henry, this is another controversial one.
Yeah, it was 1-1 going into the third, and I think according to the stats, the third it was all Volkov, and I feel like they just didn't get the nod. It seems like, from what I've heard from people that were actually at the event, that a lot of people, I think Ciryl Gane's team thought that he had lost, like they had kind of walked like in a way like, dude, we got away with murder. But I think either way, it was It was, if none of these, I don't think none of these guys can really compete against a guy like Tom Aspinall, dude. I think Tom's too much for these cats, dude. But it was a controversial. I don't know. Is it controversial? Whatever it is, I really don't give a fuck, dude. Like it's. Let's move on.
I think honestly, I think that maybe I don't know if obviously Henry, when we come into these fights, we have things going on, injuries that you didn't disclose and things like that. So I don't know what they were, if Cyril Gane or Volkov was dealing with something, but it seemed to me like Cyril Gane, either that or maybe he spent a little bit too much time working on the grappling to where I just kind of felt like he didn't get his striking going. He wasn't as dynamic as we're used to seeing. He was kind of standing in front of Volkov. He wasn't bouncing around, walking guys. Like it didn't look like the Cyril Gane that we're used to seeing. And so, yeah, it was a tough decision, but hey, he still got the nod. He still got the nod. And like we said earlier in the show, when you leave it to the judges, things like this happen.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But yo, did you see this? Did you see this technique? Is everybody just in the gyms working on spinning back fists now? I feel like everybody's doing it. And one guy's doing double back fists.
Yeah, but he's dang, you took that loogie out. You see that? No, that's cool, man. Look at the loogie. Look at the loogie. Look at the loogie. It must have landed on somebody. Yeah, but I think overall, like it was a competitive fight, but whatever, man. It is what it is. You leave it hand, like as you said before, what Burt Watts used to said. You leave it in the hands of the judges. This shit is gonna happen. But the other fight that I really thought that was also very controversial was Aljamain Sterling versus Evloev. And again, man, Evloev, he's a good dude, man. He's represented by Dominance MMA, and Ali may not like this. I might get a fucking message from, a 3-paragraph message, but bro, I thought, look, 6 takedowns, 6 for 8. I mean, those stats, more takedowns. Just more control time too on top of that. But where Aljamain Sterling did lose the fight, and I could see it though too. So I'm not mad at the decision, but I still thought that a lot of the control time that Aljamain had made up for a lot of what Evloev ended up doing. But I'm not hating on Evloev. I think he's great. I think, and I said it before, I still think he's the most problematic guy in that division, but it also showed how good Aljamain Sterling is. But Aljamain Sterling did lose it in the last minute and a half. And if Aljamain Sterling would have got to his feet and started swinging or just got to his feet, I thought because the fight was that close, he would have won the round. But because the last minute and a half, Evloev was able to finish on top, it just took the chances for Aljamain Sterling to potentially fight for a second bout. He beats a guy like Evloev, I'd be paraded for a second chance at a bout because this guy beat Diego Lopez. This guy has beat a lot of good people in there, and then Aljamain going up a weight class. Like you got to give the merit of beating champ going up, but that just wasn't the case. And remember, 3 minutes and 30 seconds of control time in round 3, and he still ended up losing.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. It was kind of a controversial decision, but I think it just I like the adaptation that I saw from Evloev, because no one's ever went in there and took him down, held him down, landing ground and pound strikes to him while he's down there. And so to watch him just kind of take that in and then still be able to, you know what, I'm going to wrestle right back in there, get to those top positions and do his thing as well. So this one was a back and forth one, but Henry, you're absolutely right. I think it was if that last minute had Aljamain had gone up, because they both kind of got the takedowns, got on top down there in that third round. Had he gone up to his feet and was able to just kind of steal the round, show the judges that I am trying to finish this fight, and I think he probably would have won that round. And yes, you're right. He probably would have been on a short list for a title shot.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I mean, other than that, dude, I mean, there's so many things that happened in this fight card. I think I want to say Anthony Smith retired.
Yeah.
Weidman, obviously, also, we'll just go over like briefly. Weidman looked like shit, man. Like he didn't. He never came back the same, dude. Ever since that leg injury, I mean, he was getting ground and pounded. Like it wasn't even like he just couldn't get up, dude. Like it wasn't even like punishment. I feel like it was just fatigue for Chris Weidman. I do feel like Chris Weidman needs to,
Really?
yeah, of 100%. Those shots weren't damaging Kamaru. Like, you know what I'm
Let's
saying?
watch the highlight. Let's watch
Like
the
those
highlight.
those shots weren't damaging. But as I told you before, dude, my boy Eric Anders got the job done. But he also got the job done. But it's also not the same Chris Weidman. But he needs to do himself a favor and just exit out from the sport, dude. I mean, he beat a guy like Anderson Silva. That is the highlight of his fucking career. And it's okay, dude. Like you beat a guy like that.
Jesus.
You beat a guy like that. It's cool. But look, like he's just like there's no attempt. There's no attempt to get up, dude. Like you know what I'm saying? Like he's just pretty much just catching his breath. And he's just getting ground and pounded from fucking here to hell, dude. Like
Tell me how
like
you really feel.
tell me those punches are damaging though, Kamaru. Like seriously. Are those damaging?
These
Look,
are light. These are light. These are This is a catch weight. It's pretty much light heavyweights at this point, and that's your boy. That he's got a nasty left hand.
no,
But hey,
but
you listen.
there's
You
no
you
urgency to scramble out, dude.
you're right. I get that. I get that. I see how you feel that way. But the one
Look,
thing
look,
that
look,
I
look,
never
look, look,
want to do.
right there, Kamaru. You could get up. He chooses not to. You know what I'm saying? And then he's gonna complain once the referee fucking stops the fight. Oh, no, it was still good, bro. That's not how this thing works, dude. You know, it is what it is. I mean, I'm gonna hate a little bit on Chris because he was hating on me too when I lost to Merab. So take that, take that to the bank. You know,
I was feeling a little heat. I didn't know what it was about, but I was feeling a little heat the way
no,
you just
hell
put it
yeah, that
on
dude
him. I was
posted me
like,
getting.
yo, hey, like, come on. Anyways, hey,
But no,
anyways,
but in
you're right.
reality, dude. Besides all that, Dana White is right. He needs to retire. Smith needs to retire, and so does, and maybe the Glass Great Hope. But I don't think he needs to necessarily. And maybe Guida, but I know that Smith and Weidman, they're just, we're all towards our tail end of our career. And that's just the reality, Kamaru. You know what I'm saying? That's just the reality. I think you know that, dude. It's
Right,
not like we're fucking, 21 or
right,
26 again, and we're That's not. That's
right,
not it.
right. Right, you're right. And the Anthony Smith one was very heavy because Anthony Smith came into that fight dealing with a lot. Uh, the fighting is emotional enough. What we do is an emotional dance that we do in there, and that's enough. But then when you're carrying the weight of you just lost your dog, I don't know how close they were, but it seemed like they were pretty close. It does weigh on you. And plus, I feel like people have been kind of talking about is Anthony Smith potentially retire or not retire, especially after the Glover fight. He's been in a lot of wars. I think Anthony has over 60 fights or something like that. And so it's I have no problem with Anthony Smith retiring. If he chooses to walk away, Anthony Smith has had a fantastic career, and not just a fantastic career. Anthony Smith now is nice on that desk. I mean, he's an amazing analyst as well. I've worked with him a few times. I remember I was on the desk before Anthony Smith came in to start working on the desk, and then he was just on it while I was fighting or training to where the next time we worked together, I was like, yo, my dog is nice now. So Anthony Smith has nothing to worry about. I think he has an amazing broadcasting career coming ahead of him. So yeah, he's had a great career. If he chooses to walk away this time, more power to him. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
But also, Henry, I want to just touch on these two, and I think these were some of the ones, the great ones. Obviously, another controversial decision was the Brian Battle versus Randy Rude Boy Brown. Um, yeah, that one I felt like Randy started off great, but it just I don't know, man. It's just like Brian Battle kind of, and I said it was going to be a tough one. Brian Battle kind of started to walk him down, had a very, very high guard. And Randy, he picked up on that because he started going to the body, but he just didn't stand his ground enough to stop Brian Battle in his tracks. And then you got into a clinch work. You got back to the clinch exchange. And I feel like when guys aren't really well versed in that clinch work, that it's hard to show the judges that you're actually winning. You're actually doing the right work here by getting the takedowns, the inside trips, the outside trips, and then work in there. So they left that one up to the judges, and hey, you can't be upset with whichever way it goes. That's how I felt about that fight. But I want to talk about, you called it, Joshua Van. I mean, damn, that H-Town boy, that man
He's got
came to work.
Yeah, he's got power. He's got power, Kamaru. He goes to the inside, and
Balance.
but I will say this, dude, and you know, and even Cormier, a lot of those guys, even Cormier brought up some good points. He's a 23-year-old kid that will get into these firefights. He's an entertainer. They cost him against Johnson 2 fights prior to this.
Right.
If he continues, you know, obviously Cody Durden, he's got no power, bro. Like everything that he relied on was just wrestling. He doesn't, Kamaru, and that's just
He
the reality,
finished Matt Snell.
dude. But I love Matt Snell, but Matt Snell has been finished by a lot of people in flyweight. Whether you want to talk about Steve Ercik, whether you want to talk about Pantoja, like he's chitty,
The
bro.
champ
He's chitty,
Yeah.
man. He's chitty.
I
Trust
feel
me,
you.
dude. I've been there, dude. Look, all of Schnell's losses have been to fucking four losses. 4 of his last 4 losses have all either been TKO or submission, bro. Like Matt Schnell has been touched up a little bit. He's gonna have to be careful. And I love Matt Schnell. Matt Schnell was a big part of that. But Cody Durden just has no power, man. I think he relies too heavy on like that wrestling cardio. And when you get somebody that can just defend you and just stay in the middle like Josh Van did, and he did a really good job with that and not move, the dude had no answers, dude. And that's all she wrote for his ass.
You're right, but I think this fight started the first round. Halfway through that first round was fantastic. I thought Cody Durden did a great job, phenomenal job, mixing it up. He was outstriking Joshua Van in that first half of that first round. But Joshua Van just showed how gritty and how balanced that this guy is. He was seeing all the strikes. He was able to slip and rips to the body, rip to the head, and it was just a systematic over the time just breakdown of Cody Durden to where eventually Cody Durden just couldn't get to those takedowns and get the fight down to the ground. And I obviously I think he spent too much energy in that opening sequence trying to get the fight down, and that's what really kind of drained that gas tank. But Joshua Van extremely improved, and I think this kid, the sky is the limit for this guy. As long as he continues to improve like that, he's going to be a phenomenal contender in that division. The last one I wanted to talk about is Vicente Luque. Excuse me. This one was a much needed one for Vicente Luque. I mean, Vicente is just, he's had a lot of ups and downs after that bang out war that he had with Jeff Neal. A lot of people just kind of wrote him off, and it's sad that that's really what we do in this sport. That's really what we do in sports in general. Someone has a bad month or a bad year or a bad couple of fights. Everyone writes him off and says, "Hey, he's done. He can't compete. He's not good anymore." But Vicente Luque came back in emphatic fashion against a tough Themba Gorimbo. Themba is great. He's good. And he's really well-rounded. He can take you down. He can hold you down. He can work in the clinch. And you saw that as the fight started. His striking is much improved. He was landing calf kicks. He's throwing fast 1-2s. So it looked great. But Vicente looked like the Vicente of old. He was able to slip that punch, land that right hand, follow up, and get the finish. And that's the thing. When you get down on the ground, if Vicente jumps on the front headlock, bro, you better run out of there.
Yeah,
I know
he's too well rounded, but I think sometimes this cat over here, I think he's a little, I don't know if I want to call it overconfident or he thinks he's better than what he really is. But I mean, it's that was a big step up for Themba, dude. Like, dude, he had it. I mean, that was a minute fight, dude, and it wasn't just a submission. He got dropped, put it to the submission, and then finished, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, but like, think about the expression
there. What? Pause, Henry.
Dude, you're making this shit cringe, Kamaru. You might be the real king of cringe, by the way. But I just don't think he was ready for a guy like Vicente Luque. And I think fighters need to take their fucking time, man. Like Vicente Luque, he has a win over Belal Muhammad. He has a win over really good guys, but you got to respect the game. Because if you don't respect the game, your career will be short lived. And for Themba at this point, I liked him. The Rock into my house. He comes from a very humble beginning. But if you don't humble yourself, not saying humble like humble yourself as in, oh my God, like bowing and shit. I'm talking about like humbling yourself, like knowing where you're at positionally. Like it's gonna eventually come back and bite you in the ass. And that's exactly what happened with unfortunately to Themba. Am I wrong, Kush? Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
Listen. You see it how you see it, and that's the great thing about this. You see it your way, and I see it my way. He was in a good streak. I think he was 4-0 in the UFC already. And when you come into the UFC and you were 4-0 and all, I believe 4 unanimous decisions or stoppage in there, and 3 unanimous decisions and a stoppage, you kind of get this. You get this sense of, oh, I'm ready for the next level, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. He's on a 4-fight win streak. He felt that, hey, you know what? I'm ready for that next level. Give me someone there. And it did. It just so happens that it was Vicente Luque, and Vicente looked like, especially when Vicente coming off the last couple of performances, when people are kind of writing him off, Vicente went in there and said, hey, I'm not done. I'm still here. So, but Themba is good. He is well-rounded, and I think that he's going to learn from this, and I think he's going to grow from it. If he truly wants to be one of the best guys in the division, he's going to learn and he's going to grow from this. So hopefully that's what he takes away from it. But all in all, it was a great, it was a good night of fights. Obviously, the fights weren't blockbuster fights, but good round of fights. A lot of guys, a couple of guys. Now I would say a lot. A couple of guys surprised me, but a majority of them kind of didn't live up to what was intended, what was expected. Right, Henry? Or am I wrong there?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think even I think maybe the guy that probably even stole the show too was Chase Hooper.
Wow.
And
Yes.
Chase Hooper against
Guida.
Clay, and what he was able to do and how he was able to do it. I think it was I want to say 2 months ago these dudes competed, and I want to say Chase Hooper submitted him, and it's just like I'm surprised. I don't know, man. I'm surprised Clay Guida didn't keep it on his feet, man. Allow those transitions of rolling with a guy
Chase
like
Hooper
that.
kept shooting for single legs.
No,
Chase Hooper was the one shooting for single.
No, of course,
Single.
but that's where you just stop. You just look for certain counters and kicking to the legs and doing certain things where you don't put yourself in those positions, not allowing people to get in so close. But I tell you what, man, Chase Hooper is a sleeper, dude. I mean, he looks like my damn producer over here, Dylan Rush, dude. He's over here
Right.
looking like he's barely has enough muscle to,
Henry.
stroke the cord.
Henry,
But
our producer. Pause. Jesus.
But
Flag on the
looks are
right.
deceiving. Looks are deceiving. And this kid, he may look like Pee Wee Herman, but dude, this dude is dangerous, man. And anybody at 155 pounds needs to watch out, because this kid is he may look like he's 13, but he's a ball of confusion.
Yeah, I agree with you, Henry. I think our producer Ryan said that this is the most regular fighter he's ever seen, ever. And I'm like, I'm sure that's what people at the bars are gonna say one day. You just look like a regular dude. And then, hey, Chase Hooper is a sleeper. He's been quietly. That's 4 in a row for Chase Hooper with 3 finishes. 4 in a row, 3 finishes. Back-to-back submissions. So he's quietly working. I know early on in his career, he went in there, he didn't look the greatest, and Dana said, hey, I think this kid needs to take his time and he needs to go in there and work. But Chase has been quietly working now on a 4-fight win streak, 3 finishes. Hey, he might look regular, but he's giving out regular ass whoopings. So, hey, that's my 2 cents on it. Henry, like I said, all in all, it was It was a good night of fights. Who doesn't love a night of fights in Las Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena, capped off by Alexander Pantoja going in there and showing Kai Asakura that, hey, this is the best.
But can I tell you something,
here.
Kamaru? I feel like the highlight for
What's up?
I think the highlight for the card for you was the fact that the security guards didn't let Belal Muhammad inside the cage, bro. I swear to God, dude, I have never seen you this.
Why are you saying for you? Why are you saying for you?
Because
why are you saying for you?
No,
we know that was the whole highlight of the night. Why are you saying for you? We knew that was the high. Like, come on.
No,
the security didn't even remember. I
haven't seen you this happy since she wants that.
No, I'm not happy.
Since she beat Tyrone Woodley. You know, for the belt, dude. I haven't seen you this stoked, dude. But whatever. I'm just calling you out.
No, you try to. I see what you try to do, but hey, it is what it is. I'm not happy. I don't care. I'm just saying that's crazy. Is that not crazy? In the biggest sport, one of the biggest sport in the world, at the event, you're not recognized to get up there. So it's kind of
that's fucked up, dude. You're wrong. Right? You're wrong, Kamaru. So is that why?
Right? I'm just saying.
Is that why you always say, you know, what's his name? Is that why you're always like, who? Is this where this is coming from?
I mean, I've been trying to remember. But hey. Anywho. Henry, yes, the announcement finally came through the week. Merab taking on Umar, and this was a nice press. I like the press conference. I felt like it's been a while since we had a good, press conference like this. I was in it. I loved it. What you think?
Oh, 100%. The press conference was better than fucking UFC. What is it, 310? Yeah. No, it really was, dude. It really was, dude. And the reality is, man, Merab he's getting really personal with Umar, dude. Like too personal. Where you could tell, like Umar, we know Umar. Umar's like a precious soul. Like he's got an innocence to him, but there's also a fucking killer. And then it's like Khabib. Like you could tell, like Khabib's different. Like Khabib, there's like an aura to Khabib, but there's like a gangster. There's a humble dude, but there's a gangster in there. And it's rare for you to see a guy like Umar kind of like really get like change his face demeanor. And when somebody changes their face demeanor, that means, dude, like this dude is it could be good or it could be bad. Because when you get to somebody's head, I mean, look at Merab is just trolling, talking about them in the jacuzzi and whatnot. He's hitting some low blows that they're not Russian. And I get what Merab is trying to say, because they do got their own traditions and things like that. But man, they're part of the Republic of Russia, so there's a lot of things. And as you know, in the past, in the Caucasus regions of Dagestan, Chechnya, they have fought the Georgian people for years. I remember in 2008, there was a war going on and thousands of people died. I mean, so this fight right here is super personal. If I'm Dana White, I'm looking to possibly take this event somewhere in the Middle East and somewhere out there to make this shit even bigger, man. Because I think this is more about just two fighters. It could be about two countrymen actually going at it.
Yeah, but why do we want to perpetuate that and create a whole war?
Because it's called money, 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 money.
Oh my God! See, yeah, you were definitely living in a capitalist society. But no, Henry, you're right. I think Henry, you're right, and this is one thing that I do think we are. Hopefully, we get into. What was that? What was this?
Yeah, fight broke off.
Merab's team got into a fight with Umar's team at the UFC. What?
Hold on, rewind it real quick. Rewind it. Let me re-see that again. Look at Homeboy goes up and actually
that is Merab. That's Merab.
Look at that. And that dude still had his bucket.
Yeah. That was Merab. I think Merab. That was after the Aljo fight. They were walking back, and I think somebody said. So this is Henry. This is how I feel about the situation, and hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to Merab leading up to this fight, and I want to give him some advice. And the advice is basically, I've been on both ends of this. I've been on the side where Umar is right now, and I've also been on the side where Merab is. And I can also understand it from the perspective that I know Merab is consuming everything that's being thrown at him. I see that. And and I think that Merab is, you're right, Henry. Merab is taking this very, very personal, because he says certain things like, you made it personal, you said this, you talked about this. Where you're right, Umar is just like, kind of like, bro, I didn't say anything personal. What did I say? I just said I wanted to fight with you. You're the champion. It's an honor for people to want to fight with you. But Merab doesn't see it that way, because when you're in it, you're hypersensitive. Anything that's being said, you're going to take personal. And Henry, you know that. Somebody says, yeah, I didn't like the way Henry did this little karate stuff. You take that personal and you want to take their head off, especially when there's an opportunity of you guys fighting. And so I think Merab is taking this a little too personal, where I think he needs to kind of settle down and understand that he needs Umar. You need Umar. You want to become the household name. You want to ascend. You want to elevate to the next box office star. Merab has done a fantastic job with his social and the little clips and posts and all of that. But you want to be that killer, that household name where people see you and they say, that's Merab, that's the champion. You need the appropriate dance partner. And right now, that appropriate dance partner is Umar Nurmagomedov, the guy that not only can he fight, but he has the name behind him. So I think Merab needs to kind of embrace that and stop being so combative with this energy right now. And at the same time, you see Umar. Umar's just like, bro, I just want to compete. I just want to compete. And Umar's doing Umar's a savage. We know that. He just wants his opportunity, and he wants to compete. And hey, and you saw that he said, Umar said, "Thank you for the gift, Dana."
Yeah, no, but I've yeah, but that's not it.
I want to see it. I can't wait to see it, because I think both of these guys need each other.
Yeah, real recognizes real, and I still feel like this is where the trade stops. When I saw Merab in Utah, we even talked about it. He even asked me like, "Hey man, what do you think about this fight?" With me, and I'm like, "Hey man," I'm like, "Hey, straight up, dude, Umar's not me. Umar is not he's not Sean O'Malley. Like he's the biggest threat for all of us, dude." And I said, what you're going up against is you're going up against a fucking killer. And you're gonna have to take risks. That's your best that's your best opportunity of actually beating him. I said, you're gonna have to go out and go for broke, because this guy could wrestle. He's fucking younger than you. He could strike, and he's more of a submission threat. So the reason why Merab didn't want to fight him is just a simple fact that real recognizes real. He know that this guy is a problem. And it's just a simple facts. But what I will say for a guy like Merab, if you're gonna talk all that shit, man, you're gonna have to really back it up, because now you're talking about somebody's culture, somebody's country, and I hope you're able to fill in those shoes, dude, because these dudes are coming. I know Umar's gonna come out firing, but if Merab for some reason does beat Umar Nurmagomedov, he is a lot better, a whole lot better, a whole lot better than what I give him credit for, even though he did beat me.
Yeah, I think Henry, there's sometimes you just need that. Like, it's like a muscle. If I'm working this muscle and I can get I can curl 50s, and every time I go in the gym I'm just at 50, then I think that's, for me, that's my threshold. That's 50. I might need somebody to come in there and push me and say, no, let's go up to 60s these days. And that's where you build that muscle, and that muscle gets bigger and stronger. And I think they need each other. I think Merab needs a Umar right now. And I think, hey, Umar could be that guy Merab can't take down, that Merab has to stand with. And Merab finds a different level to his striking, his stand-up. I went through it. So I like, that's what I'm saying. He doesn't need, he's taking it so personal, and I think that's going to hurt him if he approaches the fight like that. But Umar, like, you're absolutely right. Umar is a savage. Umar is dangerous everywhere. I can't wait to see it. I'm excited for a fight again. And hey, don't call me crazy. Listen, we know Islam is the pound for pound number one. But this is a fight I kind of want to see a little bit more than that fight.
Yeah.
Am I wrong, Henry?
100%. 100%. But can I tell you why, Kamaru? Is because they are selling it. They are selling it. Where Islam and Arman Sarukian is like they fought before. Like the person that should be talking shit in the main event should be Arman, but Arman is not doing that. So the spotlight is being stolen by Merab Devalishvili and Umar Nurmagomedov because it's good versus kind of it's good guy versus bad guy type of thing. Yeah,
Who's the bad guy?
the bad guy would be probably Merab, and then the good guy, and then the baby face is Umar Nurmagomedov. But they're selling it. Where if you you can watch the press conference when you ask Arman Sarukian, I'm gonna get this finish, or Islam, he's a good guy. He's gotten very much better, but I still pound for pound number one. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was good what Merab is doing, and I believe that fight, UFC 312, is going to be the biggest banger, bro, to start off the fucking year, man. Like that card is absolutely ridiculous.
I agree.
I'm sorry, 311.
I like it.
Not 312.
311. That's you're right. That's next month.
You gonna get on that card, Kush?
Sheesh.
You get on that card, dude?
You coming with me?
Let's go. Let's do it.
You going to 25 or what?
115. Gender change.
Flag on the play.
That's funny.
All right. It is a fantastic card. To be honest with you, it's a good card. You got Kevin Holland taking on the new kid that just beat Gerald Meerschaert. You got Yuri Prohaska taking on Jamal Hill, Hanaito Moicano taking on Bernil Dariush, Merab Devalishvili taking on Umar Nurmagomedov, and Arman Sarukian taking on Islam Makhachev. I'm excited. I'm gonna let you guys go and tell us who you guys would like to see on the show next. I mean, there's big, fantastic cards coming up. And Henry, this one was good, but what grade are you giving it again, Henry? Let me see if you remember.
A C minus.
C minus.
How's that?
All right.
And I personally think that Dana would probably agree. I really do. I think Dana has put on some great shows. I think Dana would probably say a C. And I think the UFC, but it has nothing to do with the UFC. It had everything to do with how the guys fought and also the judging, bro. So it's an overall landscape of how shit went down for the event.
All in all, it's great. UFC 310. Henry gives it a C. I'm not gonna grade it because it's just my mind is just puzzled from so many events that we've seen all year. There was so many good ones, so many not so good ones. Okay, B minus. Dang, why you doing it like that? All right, B minus. All right, B minus. Henry, you happy?
I like it.
All right. Well, Henry, as always, I'm the Nigerian Nightmare Kamaru Usman.
Henry Cejudo, a.k.a. Triple C.
And we are out.